The festive atmosphere of Christmas Eve had always been something I cherished, but this year, the air in the house felt heavy, thick with a suffocating hypocrisy. I had been married to Jared for 10 years, a decade in which I tolerated the constant demands and subtle classism of his family, the Smiths. They always saw me as an outsider, but they tolerated my presence because, unlike them, I had a stable career and a solid income. However, the true pride of my life wasn't my marriage, but my son from a previous relationship. For the past 4 years, my son had sacrificed his weekends, his summers, and his nights working double shifts in construction and as a waiter to save for college and his future business. He had managed to scrape together, through sweat and tears, the incredible sum of $50,000. Blindly trusting my husband and looking for a high-yield interest rate account that was only offered to us because of our shared credit history, I deposited that money into our joint account last year. It was the biggest mistake of my life. The revelation of the betrayal didn't happen at the dinner table, but on the morning of December 23rd. I had logged into the bank's website on my computer to verify that the interest was accruing correctly and to transfer a small portion to my son for his Christmas expenses. When the page loaded, the number on the screen took my breath away. There wasn't $50,000. The available balance was such an absurd number that I had to blink several times to process it. I immediately called the bank, thinking it was a system error or cyber fraud. The customer service representative, with a mechanical voice that contrasted sharply with my panic, confirmed that there was no error. He sent me the full breakdown for the year. As I printed the pages, my hands trembled, not from sadness, but from a cold, calculating rage. Line by line, I watched as my son's life savings were drained through systematic transfers. I started putting 2 and 2 together. My mother-in-law Brenda's sudden vacation, the designer handbags my sister-in-law Scarlett flaunted on Instagram, and, most notably, the luxury sports car my unemployed brother-in-law had shown up driving a month ago. Jared had been financing them all. I decided to say nothing that day. I put the statements in a manila folder, contacted my trusted lawyer, drafted a document, and waited. When Christmas Eve dinner arrived, my husband's family sat at my table, eating the food I had paid for, drinking the wine I had bought, and laughing with that smugness characteristic of those who believe they've committed the perfect crime. Jared was unusually tense. Perhaps, in his foolishness, he had tried to use the card that very afternoon for some other extravagant purchase and realized the well had run dry. His wounded ego and manipulative instincts led him to commit the worst possible tactical error, trying to turn the situation against me in front of his family to play the victim. Right there at the Christmas Eve dinner table, my husband abruptly stood up and threw our joint debit card down, the sound of it clanging against the wooden table right in front of me. The dining room fell into a deathly silence. His face was completely cold, wearing a mask of manufactured indignation that made me nauseous. "Explain this," he demanded harshly. "Why is there only 32 cents left here? I deposited $50,000 into this account over the past year. Where the hell is the money?" His performance was so cynical that for a split second I almost laughed. He wanted to make me look like the thief in front of his family, projecting his own guilt onto them. I remained perfectly calm. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I simply stood up slowly, smoothing down my skirt. "Wait," I said calmly, a tone that seemed to unsettle him. "Don't freak out yet. I have the bank statements right here." I walked over to the dining room table and pulled out the thick manila folder. My mother-in-law, Brenda, always ready to defend her perfect son, interrupted with that characteristic sarcastic tone that had always driven me crazy. "Are you sure you didn't spend it on your whims? Your brother just bought a new car. What a coincidence," she insinuated, trying to shift the focus to my own family. I glared at her, feeling the temperature in the room seem to drop. Where did a guy like him get that kind of cash? "Oh, I know exactly where," I retorted, my voice cutting through the air like a knife. "You've been funneling my son's hard-earned money straight to your freeloading family." I completely ignored her after that and slid the meticulous breakdown of transactions across the table toward my husband.